I think it's important to recognize that the biggest crime that was committed in Copenhagen in December was the crime committed by political leaders who failed to deliver a fair, ambitious, and legally binding treaty. It's important to recognize that climate change and its impacts is not something that is going to happen in the future. Right now, 300,000 people are dying every single year from climate impacts. We are looking at tens of thousands of climate refugees already. We are seeing climate impacts that is exacerbating and making worse conflicts, even contributing to genocide, as we see in the case of Darfur, where the drying up of Lake Chad as a result of climatic impacts has actually contributed to that situation. So when you judge the action of Greenpeace here in terms of how serious the situation in the world is in terms of climate impacts already, you will understand, if anything, our action was completely proportional to the scale of what the challenge is. Whereas what we are saying here is that the response has been completely disproportionate. The other question is that, just to put it in context, that 6 days prior to the action in Copenhagen, a similar action was carried out in Brussels at the Heads of State meeting on the 10th of December. And our colleagues in that case were all released within 24 hours, and as things stands, no formal charges has yet been brought before them. So I would like to just say that while it's interesting for me, coming from Africa, to see how the different media from the different countries are posing questions, I just want to make one thing very, very clear here. Our 4 colleagues who have spent Christmas and New Year's in prison, who have been deprived of being with their families and children and so on, are global leaders of Greenpeace, that they are here as part of a global community, and you will see that in the last 20 days we've had solidarity from virtually every part of the world, from Argentina to Australia, from Mexico City to Madrid. And my presence here is to say very, very clearly that we are proud of our colleagues as a global movement as Greenpeace, and we stand by them 100% throughout these 20 days, and we will continue to stand by them in terms of any further action that might be taken. And we would urge the Danish government to recognize that this has been an unfortunate distraction from the real purpose of why so many thousands of people came to Copenhagen. We came here to safeguard the future of our children and grandchildren. They failed, their job is not done yet, and they need to pull up their socks now and actually recover from Copenhagen. And if anything, if you want to use the word criminals, history will judge who were the criminals in Copenhagen, and I can assure you that the 4 colleagues sitting here will not be the ones that would that history will actually judge as having taken any actions that were inappropriate. Thank you. We are willing to take other questions in English now.
Where do you go after this? I mean, what are your new actions? Are you considering other ways to act after being in jail here in Denmark?
Does anybody want to take that? I'm happy to, but
well, I know where I'm going. I'm going home. but Greenpeace has been persecuted before in very heavy ways. And don't forget that our ship was bombed by the French Secret Services 20 years ago for protesting the French nuclear testing, and that didn't stop Greenpeace. So this is not the first time we are facing difficult situations, but we have to continue confronting the problem of climate change. It is a tragedy that Copenhagen, that the COP was a failure. It is a tragedy for the world, and that's where we should focus now. We should focus on really putting pressure again on the governments to say, hey guys, you have to do the job, because politician talks and leader act. It's time to act. So if something good has come out of this action, is that we have now the opportunity to be here again saying, as we were 1 month ago, again saying, hey guys, climate change is still out there. It's getting worse, and we are doing nothing about it. And we are talking about whether, whether we came in or not, and the placards and so on and so forth. And that's very small compared with the problem of climate change. And that's really what we would like now to go back to.
May I still a question in English? You are the four people that was made the action. Why is 4 different nationalities? Why no a Danish one?
Greenpeace is an international organization.
No,
And there
but
is no...
why is one each nationality?
It's luck.
It's luck.
It's it's not luck. It's how do you call that? It's at random.
A random thing. Okay.
I mean, we were with hundreds of people in Copenhagen, and at some point we plan an activity, and then it's like, okay, who's up for it?
Okay.
And these were the people that were up for it.
And just to say that there were many other actions that were planned and so on, and I would say that when you look at all the Greenpeace activities in Copenhagen, we had people from Africa, people from Asia, people from Latin America, and so on. And also it's important to remember that there were 2 days within the Copenhagen summit where our attention was not on Copenhagen. When the European Council of Ministers were meeting in Belgium, that was a strategic moment for us because we thought they could deliver the kind of ambitious targets which they failed to, and we would urge them now by the 31st of January, as the countries agree, they will put on the table some ambitious targets and some clear plans. The other thing that happened outside of Copenhagen that was important was President Obama receiving his Nobel Peace Prize on the 10th of December in Oslo, which was also another point of focus. So I can safely say, as a new international director of Greenpeace, that when I look at all the activities, it generally had a global kind of participation.
Juancho, ¿cuándo te vas a casa? When do you fly home?
This afternoon.
This afternoon. Are you arriving to Madrid?
One question, you're talking about disproportion in your arrests and detention. Are you going to sue the Danish government, Danish police, or are there going to be any legal actions regarding this? I mean, you're obviously not very satisfied.
Well, can I say that right now we are seeking a discussion, and I've written to the Danish Institute for Human Rights to explore, this question. I mean, we really don't want this to be a distraction going forward, right?
Excuse me?
We don't want this to be a distraction going forward because basically the Danish government, Greenpeace, all the other governments in the world, other civil society groups and all, must do what is most urgent to do now, which is to turn all our attention to safeguarding our children and grandchildren's future by delivering the deal that was supposed to have been done there. We know that every month lost, every year lost, the situation is getting significantly more worse, and some of the changes are not going to be reversible in terms of climatic impacts. But we have already written to the Danish Institute for Human Rights, and we will leave it there for now. And we hope that sanity will prevail, that a sense of common sense will come back to the Danish authorities around this question. And if I can say something personal, as a South African, growing up under apartheid, Denmark and the other Nordic countries were a bastion of hope for us in terms of human rights, in terms of anti-poverty, in terms of environmental sustainability. And I would urge the Danish authorities to put their focus into recapturing that image that they had once upon a time in the world. Any other questions? Okay, going.
Well,
Sorry.
I mean, in a way, you could say